Well, hi, everybody, and welcome back to my Appalachian Life. And I'm Joanna. I'm so glad you're tuning in with me today. We've got some fun things lined up for this video this week. But to start with, we're going to start out in the kitchen. And we're going to make another one of Joe's famous recipes. And can you guess which one it is? Many of you are going to say cornbread because Joe made cornbread that everyone loved, and they always wanted his recipe. And he always took it to his monthly men's prayer group where they would bring potluck, and they always wanted him to bring cornbread. So he would make about 3 pounds so that everybody would have enough, and some other guy would bring a big pot of beans and chicken, and they just have a feast. But this recipe is not his cornbread. And if you want to know his cornbread recipe, I'll link the first video that we ever made for YouTube was Joe making his famous cornbread. And the reason that I made that video was because my nephew was wanting to watch Joe make it. He said every time he made it, it wouldn't turn out. He wanted to see exactly what Joe did. Well, this was back when we were shut down because of the big C word, and nobody was getting out or getting together. Just staying home. So I told Brad, I'll make a video of him making that cornbread and put it on YouTube, and that way you can watch it. So that was the start, the unintentional start of this YouTube channel. Got a phone call. Okay, I made it back. I had a phone call from a dear friend from South Carolina. So I needed to talk to him for a bit. His brother passed away this past week, so I know what he's going through. But anyway, back to this recipe. We were talking about Joe's cornbread recipe and how everyone loved it. So the first video that we ever made that we put on YouTube was Joe making his cornbread. And I'll link that video in the description box below this video in case you want to go back and watch that one. And it's very amateurish video, but hope y'all enjoy it. But Joe had another famous recipe that everyone loved, and we made it quite often during the winter time. And I don't know why we just stopped making it. And I had actually even forgotten about it until I received a message from my neighbor's daughter who now lives in Knoxville. She sent me a message a few days ago and said that she's been thinking about Joe's chess pie, buttermilk chess pie. And it was always her favorite dessert. And she was asking if I would share the recipe with her. Well, I had forgotten all about Joe's buttermilk chess pie. And of course, I shared the recipe for her. So she was so excited. And I said, now you've got me wanting to make one too. So here I am making Joe's buttermilk chess pie. Now, he didn't come up with this recipe. He got the recipe out of either a newspaper or a magazine out of Chattanooga, Tennessee one year. Many years ago. And I wished I had the original clipping where he cut it out. And I think I do have it somewhere, but I'm just going to have to find it. But I had made a family cookbook with a lot of our favorite recipes in it. And I just typed it on the computer and put it in these little plastic covers. So here's the recipe to Joe's buttermilk chess pie. And this picture is of Joe's oldest son, Brandon, sitting, having a piece of it. And when I made this cookbook, I always put scripture verses on the bottom of each page. And on the bottom of this one, it says, "Withhold not thou thy tender mercies from me, O Lord. Let thy loving kindness and thy truth continually preserve me." And that's Psalm 40:11. And I love that verse. But anyway, this is the recipe, and we're going to make it right now. So to get started, we have to have 3 eggs, 1.5 cups of sugar. Need to get the sugar out. 1.5 tablespoons of flour, and I'm going to use the White Lily self-rising. It's unbleached. White Lily unbleached self-rising. And I'm going to use 1.5 tablespoons of cornmeal. Now, we used to use just plain cornmeal, but we can't find cornmeal, just plain cornmeal in any of the stores anymore. It's always a cornmeal mix, and we always use the Tend to Bake brand. So we're going to add those ingredients in this bowl, but we're going to start by mixing the 3 eggs up and then add those ingredients. So let's go ahead and crack these eggs. How's everybody doing out in YouTube land? We finally got out of the cold and snow weather, and it was actually beautiful this past week in the 60s, high 50s and 60s. But now this weekend, today it's turned cold again, and we're snow flurrying right now. So we're supposed to get maybe up to 1 inch of snow by tonight. Okay, got the 3 eggs in here, and I'm just going to take a whisk and just break them up a little bit. And now I'm going to add 1.5 cups of sugar. Yes, I'm still in the basement, in the kitchen in the basement, while they're working on everything upstairs. And this is 1/2 cup, I'm pretty sure. Yes, 1/2 cup. So I need 1.5 cups of sugar. So I need 3 of these. Okay. Then I need 1.5 tablespoons of flour. 1 tablespoon. And 1/2 tablespoon. And 1.5 tablespoons of cornmeal. Just 1/2. And the whole. And we're going to just stir this up with the eggs. Let me roll my sleeves up here. Yes, the kitchen project is still in process. They called me yesterday, and not yesterday, but Friday, and said that they would be here March the 4th to install my countertops. So we're getting close to the end. Okay, I have all that stirred up good. Now we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. Sometimes I've used the cap to measure, but this little thing has come out of the cap, and I don't want to use that. So let me get my teaspoon. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. You could use white vinegar too, if that's what you have. And we need 1/4 cup of buttermilk. Okay, this is a new container of buttermilk. I'm using whole buttermilk, and it might be a little thick. I tried to shake it up good, and I did. It worked out good. 1/4 cup of whole buttermilk. And now we're going to mix that together. And now we're going to add a half a cup of melted butter. I have that in this container. I forgot to preheat my oven. I do that all the time. You preheat the oven to 350 degrees. So now I've got that started. And we're going to mix this butter in with the rest of the ingredients. And we're going to pour it into a prepared unbaked pie shell. And I'm just using the store-bought kind that's already made and frozen. And you know what? I took it out of the freezer and part of it was broken off, but that will be fine. It will work. And it's down inside the pie crust and I can't get it. It went down underneath it. So I can't get it out. I'm just going to prick this pie crust a little bit. I've set it out to let it come to room temperature so it's good and thawed. And I'm just going to prick it so when it's baking, the pie crust doesn't try to bubble up. Okay, that should be good. So this mixture is all mixed up. I'm going to pour it into this pie shell. There's Mercy. You heard me talking and wondering who I was talking to? Okay, so we have this pie crust loaded. I'm going to get a sheet to put it on. Okay, I'm going to lay it on this sheet so hopefully I can pick it up without it spilling. There, carefully. And that way, if it bakes over, it'll be in this and not in my oven. And we're going to bake this at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. No, not 30 minutes. Not your standard 30 minutes. We're going to bake at 350 degrees for 45 to 50 minutes. And this is going to be good, y'all. I can't wait to dig into a slice of this. So we'll be back with you when it comes out of the oven. Well, y'all, I just took this pie out of the oven. It didn't spill over or anything. And look how golden brown it is on top. And it's been in there for 42 minutes and it's not jiggling. So I think it's pretty much done. And I'll let it sit there and cool, and I can't wait to cut a piece. Well, I just finished having dinner, so I am going to slice a piece of this pie and we'll test it out. Look at that. I can tell it's going to be yummy. Let's see. You guys have to try this. It's still just a little bit warm, and I love it that way. I haven't had this in so long. I wish Joe was here to have it with me. But it is delicious, so I recommend you try it. It's so creamy. Very creamy. I just need a little bit of milk with it. See y'all later. I got some pie to eat. Hey y'all, another week, another water issue. Excuse how I look, but it's been a rough morning today. First of all, it's been pouring outside all morning long, and it just finished, and the sun came out for just a little bit, but now it's clouding up again. But with the contractor here finishing up the work that he's to do with this remodel project, I decided to let him go ahead and change the elements in my water heater, because my water heater has been installed since 2010. And we've not had any issues with it, but I have noticed lately that when I take a shower, that sometimes the water's good and hot, but other times it's not. And I don't know what's causing it to fluctuate. So my contractor said, he does plumbing too, and he said it's probably the elements needing to be replaced. With it that old, they're probably shot. So today was their last day to be here for a while, until the place where I'm getting my countertops for the kitchen comes and places the countertops in. And then he'll come back and do some things after those are in. But anyway, so today they were draining the water heater, and it wasn't draining. It wasn't draining. They ran a hose from the water heater across my basement den out this door, and it just wasn't coming out of the hose. And so they worked with that pop-off valve. They tried to loosen it a little bit. Well, when they did, water just gushed everywhere. I was frantically running around getting every towel that I could in the house to lay down to sop up the water before it got on my rugs and stuff down here. So we were able to do that. Now I've got all these towels outside that I'm going to have to wash. They finally did get the elements replaced, but it was a job. And I'm just glad I did it, because they were shot. They needed replaced. So I'll just show you where the water was. This is the closet in the den where the water heater is at. And I had to take everything out of the floor that I had in here, which wasn't much for them to be able to work. But this whole floor in here was saturated with water, and you can see the watermark on the wood that it's sitting up off the floor on. But the lower element right here was the hardest one to get into to replace it. And he's installed this recirculating valve up here today. He left a rag up there. And that's going to give me instant hot water at my kitchen sink, which would be wonderful. But while they were working on this, one of the workers was standing here, and he felt a drip on his head. So the master bathroom vanity is up here, and this is the sink, and it's leaking in that joint right there. So now he's going to have to come back tomorrow and make that repair where it's leaking. But I'm leaving the door open here and not putting anything back until it airs out good. And there's a closet over here next to it, and it got water all in it. We pulled this shelving unit out and dried up all the water around it. But it was running down through here and down this side and in front of the fireplace. So I got all the furniture pulled out from the wall, and we sopped up all the water with the towels. But I'm just leaving everything out for a while to let it dry good. And then coming from the den into a little hallway here, there's the laundry room here, but this door is the door to my canning pantry, and it's right next to this wall is right next to where the water heater is. So I had to pull everything I had out of the floor here. And back in that corner, some water was seeping in. You can see a little darkness back there. It wasn't a lot, but I put this fan in here to dry that up good. So I'm just tired of this project. I am so ready for it to be over. But I'm thankful that I got the water heater repaired. And although it was a chore getting it done, and at least it's a warm temperature today. It's 69 degrees outside. So although it's not freezing cold to do it, but it was pouring the rain this morning, and you can see the rain where I was been in and out with taking the towels in and out. I look like a wet rat. So with all the commotion going in here, Mercy got scared and she ran out the door. So she's back at the barn. I had to go down there just a few minutes ago and open up the little cat entrance for her to come in and out of the barn and take her some food and water down there. But that's where she wants to be, so that's where she's going to stay for now, unless it gets really, really cold again, and I'll bring her back in. But she seemed to enjoy it in here this time, but she was really good and didn't bother anything. She never jumps up on counters or anything. She just sleeps most of the time. So anyway, so I've got to get working here and get things back in place. Now my downstairs is a mess and I can't get anything back in place upstairs until the kitchen is completely finished. So I'm just in a debacle. But this too shall pass. I'm just thankful. I'm thankful to have workers to do this work. And as he was leaving and it's pouring the rain, he sent me a text and he said when he comes back tomorrow to remind him to check my gutter at the corner of the carport up there, because it evidently is stopped up because water's just pouring out over the edge. So I thank him, and I did go out and see it was, and I thank him for noticing things like that and helping me get things fixed and in order to where I don't have to worry about anything, hopefully. So the water leak in the garage is still not repaired yet, but we got time to do that. My special friend and neighbor Sam is going to do that, and he's super, super busy. But I've got the water turned off going to the garage, and I don't need it down there right now. So whenever he gets a chance, he will come over and make that repair in the garage. And I just don't know if the where it tees off to go to the garage, that turn-off valve down in the ground there, I don't know if it's leaking or not. So we need to check that once we get it repaired and make sure it's not leaking too. But all in all, things are going well. I did call the water department on this leak in the garage and told them I have no idea how long it had been going. And she said it's been going a while because I have used many, many, many gallons of water when they read it, the meter. But they're going to work with me and adjust it. So they'll give it another month of a reading to see where we're at and make an adjustment to help me out with the bill there. So that's really nice of them. But that's what's going on in the world here. So stay tuned for more adventures. The contractor told me to check and see if I have hot water. Wait a couple of hours and do that. Give tank time to fill up. So I'm going to turn the hot water on down here in the sink and see how long it takes to get hot. Still pretty cold. It seems like it's getting colder. Let it run a bit. Well, it's still cold, ice cold on the hot position. I checked the breaker and thought maybe he forgot to turn the breaker back on for it to heat, but it's on. So we'll have to check on this. Give it some more time, I guess. And out here on the carport, I have all the towels just kind of draped over stuff to try to let them dry out as much as possible before I put them in the laundry. And got the buckets turned upside down here, what they were using to catch the water out of the water heater, letting them dry. Well, 3 hours later, I haven't let it run 3 hours, but I checked it now 3 hours since it's been fixed and still no hot water. I'm checking this unit that sits on top of the water heater, and it's the power on light should be a solid green, but it's flashing 3 times and stops 3 times. 3, pause, 1, 2, 3. So up here on the directions, it's diagnostic light, the power on light, 3 flashes means sensor failure. So I've texted the contractor to let him know. Now I'm just sitting here by the computer getting ready to edit some videos and waiting to hear back from the contractor. He's supposed to be back here tomorrow afternoon. So it sounds like I may be taking a cold shower tonight. I look forward to that. I look forward to that. Well, you all, it's the next day, and the contractor did come back out last night. He said, I don't want you to have to take a cold shower. He said, I may have loosened that sensory wire when he put the bottom element in. So he came to check on that, and it's still, that light was still flashing on top of the water heater. So his fear was when all that water gushed from the top down that it shorted out that sensory. So with the age of the water heater and everything, we decided I just needed to go ahead and get a new water heater. So he came back today. So I have a new water heater. I'll show it to you. This is the new water heater. And it is a Rheem. And it has a 12-year warranty on it, I think. And instead of the box on top, it's got this on the side. And it's also got a leak detector monitor on it. So I'm in business again. I got hot water. So hopefully I'll get good service out of this water heater.